Hi, my name is Michael Luegering with the University of Virginia. This is Indicating Infiltration, Monitoring Plant Migration in Rural Coastal Towns. In 2014, in Crisfield, Maryland, barely a scrap of saltwater marsh had shown up at the fringe edge of the neighborhood, as seen here in this image. By 2023, that same marsh could be identified using plant species as had migrated fully into the neighborhood across the street. When we compare that with the mapping provided by the National Wetlands Inventory, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, we see that by their reading, using remote sensing techniques focused on dampness alone, there is no marsh in the presence of the street, much less beyond. The project, Urban Planning with Integrated Natural Systems, which provided the information for this writing, is supported by the Army Corps of Engineers and a host of other federal organizations asking this very specific question. How might landscape architects and landscape architecture, in engaging with the planning and design of nature-based infrastructure, develop techniques that allow us to understand the role of plants, their position, and what they can tell us about their environment as that position changes over time is fundamental to the ideas around design and infrastructure. At the laboratory we work in, which is largely a land lab, we ask these questions by testing and torturing plants, growing them in a wide array of conditions, and doing exactly that, attempting to monitor them, their physical health, but also their species identification and position. Think of it as a literal thumbprint, by which we use things such as spectral data, large language models, and library creation to suss out a wide array of different plant species and their position and change in position over time. We take that then to the coast, to the places that are most dynamic and changing, where landscape architects play a big role in thinking about the future of adaptation. We use these same techniques of remote sensing and monitoring, field study and plant identification to ultimately identify where these specific species, such as Ivory in pink in this image, are positioned, and also what that tells us about how the coastline is changing over time. Importantly, though, when we zoom out to the scale of an entire farm, to the scale of an entire neighborhood, we can understand the true fundamental patterns of change, and we can compare them against, say, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service data, which in blue suggests that the saltwater marsh is far from the pink areas that we know based on the position of Ivory to truly represent the position of the saltwater marsh. And that ultimately comes to bear on the livelihoods and neighborhoods and urban structure of places like Crisfield, Maryland, as we prepare to help them understand how to adapt and change over time.